You're watching KOCO 5. Breaking news is happening now.
Breaking right now, a body found near the Oklahoma River. Investigators on scene near May and I-40. Officers say the body was found near the trails there. We are still waiting for more details.
Also late breaking tonight, 4 teenagers in custody after a wild chase. Good evening, I'm Evan Onstock.
I'm Jessica Shambach. KOCO's Abigail Ogle on scene where the suspects crashed out near Northwest Expressway in Independence. And Abby, you just learned that one of the teens here is wanted in connection to the Bricktown shooting last month.
Jess, Evan, that's right. Officers just gave me that update. That 17-year-old had warrants out for his arrest in connection to that Bricktown shooting late last month. It was chaos out here. This is where that chase and crash ended. There's even some glass still here on scene. Let me walk you through exactly what happened here. 4 suspects, young suspects, 15 to 17 years old, crashed out right here after driving away from police. Now, the call came in around 8 o'clock this evening about teenagers waving guns around at an apartment complex off of Lyrewood. Officers walked us through what happened next.
Several males who were waving guns around, pointing guns at people. When they found them, that SUV backed up, actually struck a police car, and then left the scene.
So you heard there, they crashed into that responding officer's car. Then 3 other cars here at this intersection when they crashed out. I actually spoke to a woman here on scene whose car was hit. She tells me that she heard sirens and then her car was slammed by those suspects, and she watched in her rearview mirror. She said that a passenger door opened and then a gun dropped out of that car, and officers here on scene confirmed to me 2 guns were found. One was a handgun, another was a rifle. After that, the 4 teens scattered. They ran in all different directions here. All 4 were taken into custody at least a few blocks away. So again, everything has wrapped up here, and I'm glad you mentioned the Bricktown connection. Officers here on scene just telling me that this 17-year-old has been arrested and he had warrants for that Bricktown shooting that we followed. We'll continue to keep you posted as we learn more information, including the identities of these juveniles now taken into custody. Wild scene here tonight. Reporting live at Independence and Northwest Expressway, Abigail Ogle, KOCO 5 News. Guys, back to you.
Abby, thank you so much. And updating some breaking news tonight, Oklahoma City police have also found Rodney Statton. He's the man accused of stabbing and killing his wife Friday morning. Police say Statton also stabbed his wife's niece multiple times before leaving the motel room they were in near I-40 and Meridian. The niece survived. Officers say they found Statton several blocks away, himself injured and covered in blood. They say he has admitted to killing his wife out of anger because they were arguing.
A teenager hit and killed by a car this morning, and new tonight, her family and friends releasing balloons in honor of Amy Pacheco. Police say that she was hit near Northwest 39th in Ann Arbor. Only on 5, her mom says Amy died while helping her friends fill up flat tires.
She was down, rolling the tire back, and once she seen the car, she looked up, and that's when the car hit her.
Our heart goes out to that mom tonight. Police say the driver stayed on scene. Pacheco's friends did not. The family says they need help with funeral costs. You'll find a link to the GoFundMe on our KOCO 5 app.
A person of interest in a double homicide in jail tonight. Sean Pittman taken into custody this evening, not for murder, but for DUI.
His parents found dead this morning in their home in Stroud. KOCO's Patrina Adger joining us live tonight with the latest on that. Patrina?
Well, Evan and Jess, Pauletta and Mark Pittman were found dead in their home here off West 10th Street. Take a look here. The scene is still active hours after their death. Crime scene tape still surrounds their house. Police say Sean living with his parents when it happened. Sean Pittman in jail tonight after a manhunt that took hours. His minivan towed away shortly after his arrest. His parents found dead in their home this morning.
One was located in the living room and one was located in the bedroom.
Those who know Sean stunned by the news.
Easygoing kid and always laughing and cutting up. Pretty shocking for around Stroud.
Sean taken into custody late this afternoon, not for murder, but for a DUI. Right now, he's only being questioned as a person of interest. Patrina Adger, KOCO 5 News.
Hands where I can see them. Get your hands both out where I can see them.
New tonight at 10 o'clock, Oklahoma City police releasing body cam video of the moments they found a sexual assault suspect. Police say that man raped a woman at the City Inn near Southwest 44th in Santa Fe last week. Officers say the woman defended herself by stabbing that man multiple times. And when she got a chance to run for help, that man took off. He's now in jail.
Oh, we don't need to say it for you to know it is hot outside. IMSA's heat alert is still in effect. This is going on day 13.
IMSA says they've responded to at least 11 calls today. It is 73 calls since it was first issued.
And that heat alert now expanding from the OKC Metro to the Tulsa Metro area.
And Chief Meteorologist Damon Lane in tonight. Damon, you say tomorrow's going to feel even hotter with a chance of storms.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, we need those storms to help cool us down. But heat advisory for tomorrow's central eastern Oklahoma does include the Metro. And this right here is why. Look at these heat indices that we're going to be dealing with at 3:30 in the afternoon. It's going to feel like 112 in Ponca City, 110 in Stillwater, 107 is what it's going to feel like right here in Oklahoma City. As you can see, all of us will likely see heat indices well into the 100s. But really the big story for tomorrow, yes, the heat and then the cooling storms, that risk for severe weather and how large you can expect those hailstorms to get for you. Coming up in a few minutes. Jess, back to you.
We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Damon. Parks, soccer stadiums, streetlights, even a new facility for a group that helps violence and abuse victims.
All of them ideas being discussed today for the next version of the MAPS penny sales tax, MAPS 4. And one topic hitting really close to home for some, and that is more and improved bike lanes in the city.
I am the little big sister of Chad Epley. The young man was killed on Classen recently.
Chad Epley was hit and killed a few months ago. The driver who hit him has not been caught. Chad's sister giving an emotional plea today for the city council to use the MAPS 4 money to create more bike lanes on city streets. Now, eventually, the city council will choose the project. Voters will have the final yes or no on to whether to actually pay for it. The Secret Service outlining possible warning signs for every mass attack that happened in public in 2018. And yes, one of them happened here in Oklahoma City. You will remember surely when a gunman opened fire in the parking lot of Louis on the Lake in April of last year. The report says nearly every alleged shooter across the country experienced a significant stressor in their lives. The Secret Service hoping this data will help local police.
We know from studying these incidents that these attacks end very rapidly. As you can see, over half the attacks ended in 5 minutes or less. There were some attacks that did end in a longer period of time, and those are really an aberration.
The report also found that half of the attackers were motivated by a grievance. 2/3 of them had a history of mental health issues.
The printing of the 2020 census questionnaire already underway, but the legal battle over including a citizenship question continues. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled against it last month.
And now the Justice Department is expected to unveil a new legal approach any day now. Sally Kidd in Washington with the latest.
Evan and Jess, we are awaiting word from the Attorney General on what this new strategy might look like. Meantime, late today, a court ruled the Justice Department cannot replace the lawyers it has working this case.
The Justice Department had tapped a new team of lawyers to handle the president's fight for a citizenship question on the 2020 census. But now a New York judge says the department cannot change lawyers without citing satisfactory reasons for doing so. This as the Attorney General prepares a new strategy.
And I think over the next day or two, you'll see what approach we're taking. And I think it does provide a pathway for getting the question on the census.
Barr isn't talking specifics, but the president has said he may issue an executive order or a memorandum directing the Commerce Department to include the question.
It's a complicated legal question whether we can do that, but one thing is, I think, relatively clear. Supreme Court justices are not going to be amused by a deliberate effort to get around their ruling.
In that 5-4 decision, the High Court ruled the administration had failed to justify the need for a citizenship question.
The president can return to court and argue that there is a new justification for why he wants to ask the census question. The problem is that at this point, any justification he might offer looks like an after-the-fact made-up reason.
The White House arguing
the Supreme Court didn't issue a legal impediment decision. In fact, if anything, Chief Justice John Roberts said he left the door open, and this president plans to barrel through it.
Meantime, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says the House will vote soon on whether to hold the Attorney General and Commerce Secretary Ross in contempt. She says both failed to comply with subpoenas for documents. In Washington, Sally Kidd, KOCO 5 News.
Commitment 2019 news. Oklahoma City voters passed 2 propositions today. Yes, it was an election day in Oklahoma City. The first changes the franchise amendment with Oklahoma Natural Gas. The second changed the city charter. It allows state employees like school teachers to serve on the city council. Both of them passed by a wide margin.
They basically had to realign all of his bones around his joint and then use a surgical pin to hold it all together.
Remember Milo? How can you forget this pup? Milo had the upside down paws and found a new way to move and groove thanks to vets at OSU. And new tonight at 10 o'clock, those veterinary surgeons have won first place in a national competition for their work on Milo's paws. Rightfully so. I mean, just look at him go. The surgeons corrected the pup's congenital dislocation of both elbow joints. We love to see Milo doing so well. And hey, big congrats to them.
I mean, it's not brain surgery, but it seems like the next best thing. I mean,
Exactly.
incredible work what they're doing. They should receive some awards
should.
for that. Straight ahead, right here on KOCO 5 News at 10 o'clock, a bee invasion.
This hive, it is so big, crews are removing it and they had to call in extra help.
Plus, burglaries in Bethany. Tonight, police looking for suspects who tried to hit one home twice.
And some intense heat across the area, but the threat for severe weather is really going to dominate the weather headlines for tomorrow. Coming up, the timeline that storms with a large hail threat will move in.